And it
Yeah.
was truly the most horrible scene I've ever had to shoot. And I have blown a lot of shit up in my career.
Hi. I am Jonathan Blomberg, and I write for MovieZine in Sweden.
Wow.
So yeah. I'm a big fan, and I've watched the entire miniseries of this show, and I wanted to start out by saying that I only knew about like there would be an axe and there would be a murder. I appreciated that you kind of didn't shy away from that at the start, but then it really got me to know a lot more than I really thought I would ever get to know about this story. Uh, so I wanted to start out by asking how you how you and maybe David decided to like shape the story, because it's not a linear one,
Right.
and how you went about deciding where you wanted to take those side steps.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you so much. And I'm glad you watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So David E. Kelly and I have wanted to work together forever, but somehow there are so many circumstances that kept us apart. So fortunately, we were both sent the original two Texas Monthly articles and the nonfiction book. And I know we were both totally fascinated by the fact that real life can be stranger than fiction. You couldn't make up this story. It
Yeah.
had to be true. Or if you did make it up, no one would believe it. So I think we were both pulled to that, but more so into the characters, that these are very complicated and complex characters. And that's what we wanted to do a deep dive into, is what kind of creates the circumstance in a small, beautiful town in 1978, where you have, families that have done all the right thing. I mean, the women, and obviously I'm interested in complicated and layered men and women, but this is
Yeah.
particularly a story about the women. And, you have Candy, who did everything right. She got married at 20. She had the two kids. They moved to the suburbs. They have a beautiful bucolic life in this small town, which is, based around the church and community. And so, why does she feel so dead and empty inside? Why is there a hole
Yeah.
inside of her that is a mile wide and just can't be filled? And, she can't call up the therapist and have a chat about this. So, I think that hole and that kind of, in some ways, she's an aspirational character. She wants to find the good in things, but of course the path she chooses is one that leads to a horrible event. So in no way do we want to
Yeah.
glorify or
Yeah.
vilify. Yeah.
And I also wanted to ask quickly about that, because when we actually do get to that scene, it's pretty horrible to watch. But I was wondering how you did that actually on set to make sure that the cast was safe, not not going home having dreams, nightmares about that afterwards.
Well,
So
I
how was that
can't.
day?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I can't talk about the nightmares because I certainly did. We followed, again, we only have this story from Candy's point of view. We
Yeah.
will never know Betty's point of view because we don't have her. She didn't make it out of that laundry room. But I tried to, as a director, keep everyone as safe as one can be when you're doing such an emotional and intense scene. So, everyone knew exactly what was going on. We had choreographed it ahead of time. There were storyboards. Everyone knew where we would get to by the end of the first day of shooting. But I had two amazing actors in Lizzie Olsen and Lily Rabe, and they inhabited that. And it
Yeah.
was truly the most horrible scene I've ever had to shoot. And I have blown a lot of shit up in my career. But
Yeah.
this was, two women in a small space, two housewives based on something true. And it was really intense. And at the end of every night, we were holding each other. It was powerful and upsetting,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
all framed by the courtroom, by the fact that we're hearing the retelling of it through Candy's eyes.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for your time and best of luck with the premiere now. I'm sure it will go great.
Thank you so much for that. Great to talk to you.